My name is Lou Forth, and my position here at the Legion is president. It was a brick building that was white and very plain Jane. You wouldn't really realize that it was a Legion, and I don't think a lot of people realize what the Legion is all about. We were in the process of trying to be more noticeable in the community, and it was our first vice president at the time that did a walk around the building, and he had this vision that the building is a blank canvas, and it would be a perfect opportunity to depict Canada's involvement in the world wars and in our peacekeeping efforts all around the world. He managed to get a hold of the humanity of art and came up with a game plan. The murals will depict all of our branches of the military, as well as some scenes of our actions around the world.
A lot of research, a lot of work, and a lot of bringing it back to the Legionnaires, bringing it back to the veterans, and getting feedback. The research stage included trips to the military museum here in town to hear the veterans' stories and walk through the exhibits, take a look at emblems, insignia, uniforms, learn about the pieces that really brought it together, not just what they looked like, but why they wore them and what they were there for, and trying to get a good representation of what was worn in conflicts throughout, like World War I, World War II, into Korea, like making sure that we were showing a variety and the span of different uniforms and outfits that they would have worn. And researching lots of books, hitting up the library, talking to folks here at the Legion, and then it was really about taking their vision and bringing it to life. They had a clear idea of what they wanted the murals to depict and what they wanted them to show and what they sort of wanted the message to be that was communicated. And so we just really had to work to find the visuals that click with what they wanted to tell people.
We did a number of sketches for the Legionnaires, trying to map out how we can fulfill their goal of having both be seen from the busy street as people are driving by, but it was also very important for them to have detail up close for their members as they're coming into the building and being able to relate to all the artwork. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges, is trying to design something that can be viewed both from far away, but also had a number of detail up close. It was a little bit of a challenge because we're spray paint artists, so we really have to rely on making sure that we're getting the accurate colors. We had some delays with supplies, being that it's a pandemic right now as well. We spent hours trying to find accurate representations of these colors. Again, we're using spray paint, so it's not quite as easy as just going down to a hardware store and matching paint and mixing our own colors. And then of course, every screen will show color a little bit differently, so we really relied on the help from the military museum. They let us in and took a tour and let us take our own photos of the uniforms, which we then took back and worked with suppliers to try to find the most accurate match. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of paint. So we use projectors, we also use like a doodle mapping technique to make sure everything was fitting in the right locations. And we were really open to the feedback that they were giving us. We used spray paint, so it went quite quick once we started actually painting. We experienced unprecedented heat waves this year, which means that we actually can't paint outside in that time. The paint just doesn't behave correctly, and we really want these murals to have a long life. So it's important that we take a break when we can and then try to move as fast as possible in that nice dry stretch of weather. And then we're also dealing with rain as well. So again, same thing, we really have to pause our artwork and just let the weather do its thing and be prepared to paint whenever we can. There's always risks when we take on a project with an older building. We do our best to make sure that we're prepping the surfaces correctly, but unfortunately there was a powder coating on a door that had failed that we had already painted, and once that happens, the paint falls off and we have to start again. But it turned out to be a good thing. We were able to put a little bit more detail into the particular area that happened, and we're very happy with how it turned out. We really had to make sure that we were using the correct equipment for the surface that we were on. So it was a mix of ladders, scaffolding, and then we also wanted to hide some of the facade. So there's things that are hanging off the building, which now you can't see unless you're up close. So it really gives us this nice uniformed look to the mural.
Even during the painting process, we were approached by Legionnaires from branches that aren't in Nanaimo. We've been approached by Afghanistan veterans or folks whose uncles and fathers and family members, grandmothers were involved in conflicts and have served. So hearing their stories, the way they walk up, and the response always kind of starts with, whoa, whoa. And you watch them physically step back. They physically take it in. It's kind of like they approach the building for other purposes, and then they go, hang on, and they really have to step back and take it in. And Some become emotional and they don't really want to talk and they kind of need to take some time. Some immediately start giving feedback. Wow, that's the uniform my dad wore. That's where my mom served. That's how this connects to my family. This is my relationship with the services and with this Legion. So it's neat to hear those stories. Everyone inside the Legion branch, all the members are just so wonderful to work with. They're supportive, they give great feedback. If we're hitting on something that's not historically accurate, or if we've sort of moved away, they're there to be like, hey, we didn't actually wear that style of backpack until later, and like this is how the straps would be. So it's been wonderful to sort of collaborate with them to take their lived experience and really make sure that the art reflects that. For people outside of the Legion, it's a learning opportunity for them, because for folks that know what the Legion does, it's a big reminder of like, hey, this building's here, this branch exists. It's here to serve vets, it's here to make sure that their stories are told, you know, we will remember them. And that's their motto. And for folks that don't know what the Legion does, they're like, whoa, they serve all these different branches of service members, and wow, they have service workers that support veterans living in poverty and veterans who are homeless, and they advocate to the federal government and provincial governments for more support for vets and seniors care, and they play such an important role. And this is helping to bring attention to that work that is so deeply needed. Even without war, even without conflict, veterans are still here and they still need help and support and care. And that's the role that the Legion plays. And if we can help tell that story to the greater community, this mural's done what it was supposed to do.
We've had a fantastic amount of support from the community. This is a very busy location. So anything from people picking their kids up from school to just people that drove by and then made a U-turn and came and decided they wanted to come and talk to us. And one thing that we're hearing too is a lot of people had no idea what this building was, but the artwork made them come and have a second look and actually start to interact with the people and the Legion that run the building.
Oh, I'm proud. I'm proud of it. It really stands out. You see it when you're driving by. It's an eye catcher. And hopefully by doing this, we're drawing the community's attention to what we are all about. So this is just the face and the corner here that we've got so far, but next year, once the weather turns again, they'll be doing the complete wrap around the entire building.